Hello, everybody. Today the topic is, what can we say? We had to turn the clock 1 hour ahead, and it's going to be a short time of early evening, but even though we are, you see, the clock tells us the time. The time. Beware of the time. Jesus said something about beware of time. In which time you are living in. So today it's kind of a strange time. They have turned time 1 hour ahead, and it's kind of a how things maybe are also that people are changing the time. Like you can control everything now. You can also control the time. I don't think that is... I think it is a proof of how superior we think we are. That we can change the time. I don't like the notion of changing the time because it's a structure of creation. Time is a structure of creation, and but when you live here in the upper northern country, in Kenya, where you have the equator. Or other places where the equator line is steadfast. So we asked those that didn't have a watch, do you know what the exact time is now? And they were very precise because they had learned how to... They just took a look and, well, 4 o'clock. That was it. So they knew their time, and I think it's important for us, even though the timetable is changing because of the angle of the Earth. It's slowly tipping like that. And that's when we have summertime and wintertime. Just of the tilt of the angle of the Earth. It's like that. So when it's tilting more to this end, I bet it's further away from the sun. Because if you can see the axis, if it's like that, the further away, it's going further away from the sun, and that little tilt on the Earth axis is making up this winter time. It's not only making winter, it's also changing the time when the sun is setting. It's we have no control over time, my friends. That is how it is, and this tilt is changing everything. It melts the water from ice when it's tilting back. During the summertime here, in June, July, it can be quite warm, but when it's tilting back, maybe during the cold winter time, it's even more when it's very cold. Maybe the the angle of the Earth is a little bit fluctual because of the we realize it when it's not that cold. Maybe the angle is still not far away, but we measure it by the light when the sun is setting, and we have this calendar or a sun timetable that on exact time every day. It's on the minute, it's on maybe on the second too, that we have these measurements and scale that we see and can see and observe when the sun is rising and when it's setting. That's how it is, and it's in all motion. The Earth is in a global motion, and in the ancient times they measured it like some structure they built in order to know which day, the longest day of the year, because you have some measurements here up north that you can have a structure with a opening, and if you walk some distance to that, you will have some other structure which is when the sun is shining through this hole, it will be radiated to a certain wall, so you know exactly what the time is, and that is also in its own circle. Maybe it's not that exact point every year, but it's in a circling timetable over years. So maybe some years it's not there, some years it's exactly there. And the Maya Indians had that too. They knew exactly how to measure the stars and sun. It's quite interesting, and also all these pyramids, how they could build those big blocks of stones. If you have been to the pyramids, which I have, one stone is kind of a large wall, like the wall behind me. I went down to the wall of Jerusalem, one of the biggest wall bricks I have ever seen and come in touch with was the one underground. It was 9 meters long, maybe 4 meters high, and something like that, and it was very straight. It was like the razor blade could not split the stones apart. So they were very precise, and it is amazing how they could build those structure. So in old times you had these measurements and precision making tools. I don't know, I remember, yeah, I think it was, I think I have touched on it because of one architecture in New York or in a big city in America was so interested in these pyramids. So he said that the measurements the measurements have it's close to zero tolerance. The tolerance is the mistake in a building. When you build a tall building, you have to be within some tolerance, and this tolerance is all about the mistake. And maybe also the setting on the building, that the building you can build very tall, but it has some structural defaults that is just setting like something very heavy is putting it down in a certain way, so it have this inbuilt tolerance. And he was amazed by the tolerance of the pyramid structure, because it was of higher degree of tolerance. I mean smaller tolerance, smaller to the infinity in regard or compared with those high 100 flat buildings in New York. And he was an architect. He was the architect of big buildings, because and he saw that this kind of tolerances, that kind of information that you have to be capable of. So our view on the past ancestors have to be a little bit more humble, because it's they knew it, they knew how to do it. And also the old timers, even back to my father and grandfathers, they were skilled people. We can think that we have the computer, we have the technology, but we don't have all this experience, skill. I think people that I admire is those that have some work experience. They can come as a new educated broilers, and they are very skilled when after some years the bricklayer, the tail layer, no, any which how the bricklayer, he said that this was not so easy in the beginning. I didn't have the technique, I didn't have the routine, I didn't have the routine that I needed. So after some years, I got it very well, and that is some kind of skill. And I remember too working on different stuff. All my years I have been dealing with different stuff, and at the factory, paint factory, I had this kind of competition with myself that since I was better than everybody else in some machine to do this operation, they couldn't compare with me. I was emptying the tank in one go, and they couldn't understand how I did it so well. And I compete with myself that if I got a chance to it, I would look for any possibility to even beat my own record. So that's I think that is the mindset of people, that they like to beat themselves, beat other people in some degree of workmanship. So where am I going with this? What is this topic have to do with anything? You see, when you meet some... I sit often at McDonald's with my daughters. It's very nice. It's a warm, cool feeling. You can interact, you can be at ease, you can see, look at other people, you can watch and observe, and they are the service people at McDonald's. They are very light and very nice. So sometimes I take the time to just speak with them and ask them how they are doing. And I think that comes with the skill. People can be so preoccupied with their level of skill that they don't really care how they are with other people. So from sun table to being with other people, I think it may have some connections. I don't know. In some strange way, it has some connection deep down or high up, because we are all interfering with the same time. We have to adjust our watches that are more analog watches. I had to take this watch that is up here and turn it 1 hour ahead, and I had to abide by the rule of the time. And it's something about that we are fixed on understanding things and getting to know which day, on which point the sun is at, which day, which time, and what place the sun is at a specific moment of time. And maybe that precision is also sometimes bugging us too, because we have to be at certain time as people are. I wonder how people that are working here can be at work at precise, maybe 7 o'clock, start their watches at 7 o'clock, they work at 7 o'clock. For me, it's something I admire, because I failed so much in that kind of duties. I did my best, of course, and I was best at what I did, but in some kind, I was stressing myself out. I was wearing my wits out. I couldn't hold on to that stress moment so long, so far. So it goes so far that you have to admit that sometimes that kind of stress, that kind of syndrome of hanging up there to be the best, to do the best, to make a good image of yourself is sometimes not really very important. It's good in some way, but it's also sometimes we have to let the time go. Just let it go, pass by. Let us not wonder about the time. Let us not stress about the time. Let's cool down with a cup of coffee or something like wine. It's we have to stop watching. We have to stop thinking. We have to stop working. We have to stop and be at peace with ourselves. Find our innermost soul, as I talked yesterday. We have to find something beyond the physical universe. We have to be above every matter. Everything is going to destruction anyway. We can do our best. I wonder why people are jogging, why people are running, why they exercise so much, because I feel that they want to die sooner. They are exercising to their death. They are stressing themselves, and come to think about it, I was told that the heartbeat, even for a human, cat, bird, insect, is approximately the same. It's the heartbeat, how fast the heart is beating, and how many times during the lifespan the heart is beating. It's approximately the same for everybody. So if you die young, you had many stresses, you had so much stress, you lived on a very high degree of stress. If you die old, you maybe have learned the exercise of relaxing, to forget and forgive, to be at peace with yourself, not on the level of the stress syndrome that we are enduring in this time. We have to understand our time and take precautions. We have to understand ourselves in that regard. We have to be aware of what is happening around and within. We can be so much preoccupied with the sun, and that is good. That is a good preoccupation. But we can also be very preoccupied with problems and stress. I'm that kind of person that have been an activist for many years, and that have generated a lot of stress. I have some insight in things which is not that highly regarded by some, but when you have the Holy Spirit, you can't wait for the upload. You can't wait for the followers. You can't wait for the spring to come. You have to just go on. You have to follow your own heart. You can't be waiting for the acceptance of other people. They are too slow in any way. They don't, may not, probably not, most possibly not understand what you are talking about anyway. So why are you waiting? Why should we wait for each other in that regard? Because you have your time and you have to spend it. You have to understand. Jesus said something about that regarding the first miracle in Galilee. When the wedding was at hand, he made something, wine from water, and Maria, his mother. It's not the only name that is named in that story is only Jesus. Everybody had some titles but no name. And that is quite interesting regarding our story. When I saw that, I thought that there is a deeper layer here that is of interest. So if you read the first miracle in Galilee, you will see that everybody is not with a name. They have no name. The only name is named Jesus. And he said to his mother, What have I to do with you, lady? What is it about? Why are you begging me so to say? My time is... he was referring to his time. My time is... when my time is. And we have to understand our time regard to what we are up to what we are driven by. We have to be very sensitive to our time, that we use our time. When I walk to town, when I'm here, when I'm there, when I'm anywhere, I will try to be very keenly, meticulously focused on using my time. They say among the comedians that you have this time when you say something very funny, you are according to time. It's the time is just of the essence. When you say something very awkward, it's out of time, and that can be funny too. But the real fun is when you are in a circle of time. Because I met some girls down the city. I was walking back in those days. I was walking, and my daughter was in another city, so I talked with no, okay, it was in the same city, but I was walking to town. So when I was talking in the phone with my headset, I passed those girls, and I said while I was passing them that then we could, and I looked at them and said, we can meet in town. And they were baffled, and they didn't really understand who am I talking to now. Oh, I'm just talking to the in my phone. I explained. So that is how time can be very crucial. That you play on the time. You play on that kind of wave of time. So, my friends. Time is very important. Time adjustment to see where the sun is at the exact moment on time. It's quite precise. So when this tube is finished, I will be on time. I try my best to be on time. I don't want to extend it unnecessarily long. It's important to show that you have some control, but you can miss with some seconds or minutes, and that is okay. You have to be at ease with yourself. You can't be so stringent. You can't be so hard on yourself. Learn how to relax when the time is. And the big, great wise man, he said there is time for everything. Time for joy, time for grief, time for healing, time for growing, time for eating, time for being with friends. There is time for everything. Don't use all your time on one pot, in one basket of egg. Use different containers. Use different approaches. Be in your own harmony. So this time around, it was also about time and how to use time in a good and skilled way. We should be aware of time, and we should be aware of when to do what we are driven to. Not all the time is good. If you are talkative, just keep to yourself sometimes. Don't talk to so much. Let other people into this kind of things that you think you are very skilled at. You don't need to prove yourself. It's okay. It's okay that people can be catching in on different angles. And that is the broader picture, my friends. Shalom to everybody, and be at peace with yourself. Time's up.